Hey, buenos dias. This is Charles Cook. It is great to be with you guys today, managing partner here at Cook Baxter. I've got my virtual background on, and that's not really working very well. I don't think. It's like cutting my head off over here, like the head's disappearing in that. So let's get rid of the virtual background here and see if we can figure that out. Yeah, here we go. We're going to get rid of the virtual background here. And we're going to put none in. There we go. Now you got the whole office going on here. Wow. Well, you get to see everything. Welcome. It's great to be with you today. There's a lot, obviously, a lot going on. Today it's going to be in English, and I'll, of course, speak Spanish. Por supuesto, si tienen preguntas en español, los voy a contestar. But I really want to focus this week on English and next week on Spanish to talk about what we know will happen. Now, we have things that we believe will happen, but there are certain things that will happen on January 20th. This is literally the day that Trump becomes president. And how do we know this? Because even though we're told to take Trump, seriously, but not literally? Or is it literally, not seriously? I don't know. One of those two ways. Honestly said these things. So we should be talking about them in advance. We should be warning clients in advance. We should be letting you know what your legal rights are, what your obligations are, and making sure that you're ready for the next 4 years of this crazy Trump roller coaster. You know, it's going to be somewhat insane. And we're already seeing that happen in Congress right now with them passing the Ken Paxton Act to give Ken Paxton more power to overturn U.S. policy, national policy on immigration. That's what the Ken Paxton Act does that was recently passed the House. So let's take a look at this right now. First, let's talk about, first and foremost, birthright citizenship. Okay, this is a term that was created out of whole cloth by nativists, right? So basically what this means, if you are born in the United States and you are not the child of diplomats, you are a U.S. citizen. This is the literal meaning of the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution. 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution is quite clear about this, at least to people with a brain. Okay, with people with a brain, it appears to me to be pretty clear. Let's share here. Let's take a look at what this is. We're just going to share our screen here. Talk about this 14th Amendment to the Constitution. Here is the 14th Amendment to the Constitution. We're going to take here. It's the first part that matters right here that we're talking about. It says, all persons. These are human beings. They could have said human beings. They meant persons. All human beings born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, parenthetical comma, are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. What this means, one, if you are, now you have to be born. We do not count unborn people as citizens, despite what people think. Some people think. But folks have been making a big deal about this parenthetical. Subject to the jurisdiction of, meaning if you are a citizen of a different country and you're undocumented here, you're not subject to our jurisdiction, which is completely not true. Otherwise, we couldn't deport them and we couldn't arrest them and we couldn't make them get divorced or get married. It's a completely made up legal argument that has no basis in law. And particularly, they talked about this phrase when they created the 14th Amendment. And it clearly means children born of diplomats who have diplomatic immunity. Those children actually are permanent residents when they're born in the United States and can lose their green card when they leave. So what Trump is going to do, based on this obscure, baseless legal theory, on day one, he is going to order the Department of State to stop issuing passports to children whose parents are undocumented, with the argument somehow that they're not U.S. citizens. Somehow. I mean, honestly, to me, I don't understand how they're going to do this, but they are definitely going to do this. And he is likely, in that same order, to tell the Immigration Service not to approve immigrant visas, I-130s, green cards for individuals parents that are undocumented being sponsored by their U.S.-born children if those children are born while their parents are undocumented. I mean, this is a ridiculous legal theory. It's a ridiculous thing to do, but you have to understand the nativists went all in. These know-nothings, and if you don't know what a know-nothing is, K-N-O-W, know-nothing, Google it. You'll know exactly who these people are. Abraham Lincoln hated these people. There's a great quote from Abraham Lincoln about this. They're going to do this. This is going to happen. Oh, you're causing alarm. No, I'm just telling you what 100% Trump said he was going to do day one. They've talked about it recently as 2 days ago. They're definitely going to do this. Is this order is being written, going to be signed by the president, going to happen? I have colleagues that are already preparing litigation on this. They'll sue as soon as he signs this. I would imagine a lawsuit will be filed the same day or the next day. An injunction will be issued stopping this executive order, and we'll get back to normal. There'll be a lot of litigation. It will end at the Supreme Court, which has already ruled on this issue 130 years ago in 1898. Will once again, in my opinion, affirm its ruling. Won't be unanimous. There's a few outliers. We got crazy Alito and crazy Thomas, who of all people should be saying that this is obviously not a good reading. They will agree with that, but it will pass. I would suspect 7-2. So there you go. That's the first item that I wanted to talk about today. Let's stop sharing that drive. All right. Next, DACA. How to prepare for Trump. How does somebody with DACA prepare for Trump? One, if your DACA is expiring in 2025, you should, and I've been saying this for 2 months, you should have been filing an extension now. And it turns out immigration has been rapidly approving these. There's a great Facebook group called Dreamers Together. Shared this information there. Lots of stories. Hey, I filed it on Friday. The next Friday, a week later, I got approved. There's still time to file this and get it approved. Why? Why should you cut off the current, let's say you're good till November 2025. Why should you file now to go through January 2027? So you're basically losing a year, kind of losing a year. No, you're really gaining a year if Trump ends DACA. Now, will Trump end DACA? It's a great question. This is one of those things is, will he do what he says in one interview or do what he says in a different interview the same day? One interview, he says, I love DACA. They're wonderful. We shouldn't deport them. Rather, we should deport everybody who's undocumented, which includes DACA people. So in his first term, it took him until September, 9 months later, for him to basically issue an executive order ending DACA. Now, because they're idiots that worked for Trump then, they didn't understand they had to go through the administrative procedures process. So instead of just, the court ordered them to keep taking DACA cases, keep adjudicating extensions at least, instead of just immediately, let's follow the law, let's publish in the Federal Register, let's follow the Administrative Procedures Act. They didn't, and they fought it all the way to the Supreme Court. And then by the time we got to SCOTUS, Biden was president, and Biden was publishing the rules to make DACA permanent, at least for those that have it. And now that Biden regulation was struck down by a judge in Texas. Of course it was. I mean, it's this guy who hates immigrants, right? Anything, nativist judges exist. I mean, people don't think he's a nativist judge. Well, you should read what he writes. Clear. So Fifth Circuit, we're waiting on their decision. I think they're waiting until the inauguration day to rule that DACA is illegal. It will then go to Supreme Court. Obviously, Trump's not going to appeal it, but there are interested parties who will appeal it. And that's fine. And the court will take the case and they'll hear it in 2026. But what Trump could do, again, if they had a brain, they would just publish a regulation and say, it was an interesting idea. We don't think it was legal. Now we're publishing a regulation, striking it down, and DACA's over. I expect them to do that. I expect them to follow through on what they say. But one thing that we do know is that if you have DACA and they end it, you will stay in DACA until it ends. Basically, you will have that work permit. So again, telling people now to file for their DACA renewal good through 2027, January 27, is a smart thing to do. Yes, I had somebody accuse me of it. You're just panic monitoring. No, I'm telling you the truth. If you don't want to realize, there's a lot of DACA kids that would have voted for Trump, right? I mean, then cut out their nose to spite their face. It's an incredibly stupid thing to do, but they think Trump's the end all be all. As much as you think Biden was bad, he was still decent on this issue, right? He was looking out for DACA kids. Not as good as he could have, but at least he's not ending the program. So DACA had to prepare. One, you should definitely do that. Two, if you have not traveled on advanced parole, and I by the way, I don't expect DACA to end on day one. I expect that'll be a later thing, several months from now, because again, to end it, they have to go through the APA, and that takes months. So now, will they keep adjudicating advanced paroles? Maybe, maybe not. But if you have an advanced parole now, good advice: be home before noon on the 20th. Be home. Be back in the United States. But if you have a parole that's good after that, and you have the parole, if you leave on parole and Trump says, "Oh, no more parole," you will still be allowed back in. I promise you. That's the law. You will still be allowed back in. You will. Okay? I'll be there to defend you if there's a problem, but I don't think there's a problem. I know there's not going to be a problem. You will be able to come back in. All right? If you have not traveled, which I still don't understand. Somebody came in this morning, well, I have a removal order. Thousands of doctors and removal orders have traveled without a problem. All right? Because it's not a problem. Now, immigration has recently taken a position that if you travel on advanced parole and come back as a DACA recipient, you activate the removal order. That's actually been on several advanced paroles that I've seen recently. And you know what? It's not a bad thing. Because at that point, if now you came back legally, you are clicking off the time, the 10-year bar that comes with the removal order. So now you're clicking off that time while you're here because court case says if you enter legally, that time is served in the United States. And that is now waivable. So you can't file a waiver of an unexecuted removal order, but now you've executed a removal order. So now let's say you're married to a U.S. citizen. You can adjust status with an I-212. You can file the 212 to forgive the removal order. We've done many of these now. Perfectly rational way to do it. So again, if you can get that advanced parole and you have DACA, even after Trump, so long as he has canceled the program, so long as he's issuing advanced paroles, you should do it. Now, he could tell CIS no more advanced paroles. That's not a regulation. That's a policy, and he could do that. That's not going to be the court challenge, but you're still okay. All right, you're still okay. So again, renew DACA. You should still be trying to get advanced parole to travel. We'll know a lot more on January 20th. But again, I don't expect DACA to end right away because he has to follow certain procedures to make that happen. Next thing I want to talk about are Trump and visas. What will Trump do to visas? Well, Trump can't impact the law. So the law says you get an H-1B or an L or an E or an EB-3. Trump can't change that. You're still going to get that. If you're entitled to it, you qualify for it, you're still going to get it. What he can do is slow down visa issuance at consulates. And in fact, in a bill that passed the House of Representatives yesterday with a bipartisan majority, that bill, if it passes the Senate, will authorize any attorney general in the United States to sue for the stoppage of visa issuance to any nationals of any country that does not accept 100% of deportees. That means no Indian visas, no Chinese visas. There's 30 countries that don't accept everybody. That's why I call this the Ken Paxton Act, not the Laken Riley Act, because Laken Riley, we can't fix that problem. You know, one time somebody released on shoplifting charges by ICE killed somebody. No other recorded incidents that we're aware of. But from now on, this bill will require mandatory detention for anybody arrested. Not even charged, but arrested for it. Mandatory detention. Never get out of jail. It's a stupid bill. Fixes a problem in the past. Like everything Congress does, fixes a past problem, doesn't fix a future problem. So it gives Ken Paxton, the Attorney General of Texas, who loves suing the federal government, particularly Democrats in the federal government. Now you're going to say, well, a Democrat could sue Trump. The way this bill is written, there's very little things that give standing to an attorney general to sue the Trump administration on. This bill is written by Republicans. It's not nothing to hurt Republicans. Come on, wake up, people, wake up. The Ken Paxton Act is a really stupid idea. It solves no problem. It solves no problem, but creates opportunity for people like Ken Paxton, a truly immoral person. Now, at the same time that's going on, he's also going to instruct consulates slow down visa issuance. Remember, and you might not know this, When Homeland Security was created, Homeland Security was given the authority to review every visa issuance by the Department of State and cancel it. They never really effectively used that authority. Hold on your horses, because they're coming. There's going to be DHS people in every consulate, from FDNS, Fraud Detection National Security, canceling or delaying these visas. Definitely going to do that. I don't have any doubt about that. Next thing, expect the Muslim ban. Will Iran be stopped from coming in? Any Iranian at all? Except with their exception rule? Probably. He said he's going to do it. Day one, Muslim ban. Day one, coming back. Exactly like last time, perhaps even a little more aggressive. So that's how Trump is going to affect visas. Now, next thing, Trump and deportation proceedings. Keep in mind that we are in the midst of the worst crisis in immigration court in our history. And what do I mean by that? When Obama came in, when Obama started, there was about 200,000 people in removal proceedings. Most of them were criminal aliens or Muslims that overstayed their visas after 9/11. There wasn't a lot of other people in removal proceedings. Obama comes in and says, I'm going to convince Republicans to support immigration reform by aggressively enforcing immigration law. Again, another truly stupid Democratic idea. So they started arresting people driving without a license, you've been overstayed. All of a sudden, by Obama deports a literal record number, more than 3 million people deported by Barack Obama, the deporter in chief. Now, when he leaves office, instead of 250,000 in proceedings, now 600,000 are proceedings, and there's about 300 judges. Trump comes in. I mean, truly, the level of incompetence surrounding Trump in his first 4 years, there will be books written about this in the future. Stunning. Trump basically deported not even 1 million people. I mean, really, nobody. I mean, really, it was wildly ineffective. He went back to the policies that Obama had stopped in 2013 when he got reelected, because people were not, he's going to lose the reelection unless he started DACA, for example. So Trump arrests lots of people, and in fact, under the Obama administration, Obama had instructed government lawyers to administratively close cases. People had been here a long time, we didn't really want to deport, to close their, not terminate it, but close it. Trump moved to reopen tens of thousands of these cases to no impact, because when Trump left, remember, he came in at 600,000. When Trump left, he had 1.6 million people, 1.2 million people in deportation proceedings, doubled the number of people in deportation proceedings, had increased judges to about 400. Okay, now we got a few more judges, but double the number of cases. So what happens when Biden comes in? Well, Biden, everybody knows Biden's immigration policies were really incredibly ill-informed, poorly run, terrible management out of the White House. I mean, truly incompetence at unforeseen levels. So I'm an equal opportunity degrader here. Biden's going to leave office, and there's going to be, and there is today, 3.6 million people in deportation proceedings and about 700 judges. So we have almost tripled. Well, let's do the math. We have 6 times the number of people in removal proceedings that we had in 2016, and we have just over double the number of judges. Now, it's not just judges. You have to have twice as many government lawyers as you, or 3 times as many as you have judges. And they're about 1 to 1. They have a massive shortage of ICE lawyers. Look, if you're a recent grad and you don't mind deporting people, ICE pays a lot of money. You get a job at ICE tomorrow, they're going to be hiring like crazy. I could never do that job because I couldn't sell my soul, but maybe you can. So Trump is now facing a deportation crisis. Now, keep in mind, there are at least 2 million more people who have been given or should have been given notices to appear, or perhaps more, that are not in deportation. So the number is not really 3.6. It's probably closer to 6 million people in deportation proceedings. That's an insane number, by the way. Now, some of those people, if they've been here for less than 2 years, ICE can just deport them. ICE has the authority, and Trump restarted this under the law. If you've been here for less than 2 years, you can just be deported. So, piece of advice, if you've been here more than 2 years, you should keep evidence on you to show you've been here more than 2 years. And then you have to go through the normal immigration court process. Now, ICE can detain you. Anybody who does not have a criminal conviction is eligible for bond. So you've been here 20 years, you got kids here, you get stopped, we can get you out on bond, and you can apply for cancellation removal if you have more than 10 years. But if you've been here less than 10, but more than 2, and you don't have an asylum claim that's valid, you're probably going to have a pretty quick hearing in immigration court. Trump will deport a lot of people. And there is no doubt in my mind that he will deport probably, nobody's ever deported more than about 400,000 because Congress has never allocated enough money to deport more than 400,000. This Congress will allocate money. But physically, I would expect anywhere from 400,000 to 500,000 people to be removed from the United States in the next year. If they really aggressively go after expedited removal, there could be 1 million. It could happen. It could happen if they aggressively do it. Now, how are they going to aggressively do it? I guess we're going to see. You got Tom Homan on Fox News every day saying, he's going to bang down doors and go in hospitals and go to schools. I think there's going to be a lot of injunctions, a lot of lawsuits filed in this regard. But keep in mind, this is going to be very aggressive. Finally, Trump and your legal rights. If you're in the United States, the Constitution protects you whether you're a citizen or not. It does. Now, in immigration court, there are due process rights. They're more limited because as the Supreme Court has repeatedly said, due process rights for immigrants are whatever Congress says they are. So right now, you enjoy the ability, if you have more than 2 years in the United States, to go to court and either claim asylum, claim cancellation removal, claim withholding of removal, claim relief under the Convention Against Torture. You have a right for those days in court. You also have a legal right to not answer questions from an ICE officer. You don't have to let an ICE officer in your home if he doesn't have a warrant, and they never have warrants. So they knock on your door looking for somebody. You do not have to let them in. You don't. You don't have to talk to them. There's no legal authority that makes you talk to them. And keep in mind, ICE doesn't come alone to houses. ICE is not going to break down doors. They don't have that authority. In order to get a warrant, they have to go to federal court. They're not going to go to federal court on every single case. They might go in special cases, but that's going to be far and few between. So you have a legal right not to answer questions, the right to remain silent. You have a right to legal counsel. You say, I don't have to answer lawyers' questions, I'm not a lawyer present. And they'll say, well, immigration is a civil issue. Yeah, but it can lead to criminal issues, so I'm not going to talk. Boom. And you just got to sit. This is hard. They're pounding you with questions. I want a lawyer. You just sit there, fold your arms. I want a lawyer. Now, if you happen to be in their custody, you have no legal right to talk. You should never sign anything without a lawyer looking at it that ICE gives you. If you're in immigration process, honestly, in Trump era, you'd kind of be a fool not to have a lawyer. Honestly. And there's lots of really good lawyers out there. A lot of crummy lawyers too, but lots of really good lawyers out there. You need to exercise your rights, know your rights. We're handing out a little red card to people. We're going to put it on our website soon that gives you rights, both in English and Spanish. And at the end of the day, it's up to you whether you exercise them or not. All right. So Chuck Cook here again. I'm going to answer some questions. Now, remember, if you ever have questions, you make an appointment by calling us. You can email me. You can, on every social media, I am C. Cook. So Blue Sky, Threads, on the Twitter, I'm on Facebook under my name. We're here. We're here to answer questions. We're here to help people as much as possible. We're all in this together. Remember, I survived the Trump years. We helped a lot of people stay here and ultimately get a green card during the Trump years. Let's do it again. All right, let's look at some questions here. Some of these will be in Spanish, and I'll translate it into English. Ingrid, Dios te bendiga. Oh, God bless you. El abogado tigre de Atlanta, the tiger lawyer of Atlanta. Thank you, Ingrid. Saludos de Atlanta. Omarcito, gusto en verte. Ingrid, Dios te bendiga. Gracias, Ingrid. Gracias. Sedense doc, my DACA expires in September. When should I renew it? Ahorita, Monica. Renuévela ahorita. She's asking, when should I renew my DACA? It expires in September. Renew it now. Now. Forget that immigration is telling you 6 months. Renew it now. Okay. Maria Gonzalez. Yo tengo esperando la visa U desde 2007. ¿Cuánto tiempo más tendré que esperar? Okay, she's got a visa U pending since 2017. Let's take a look at the. Now this is a website. Everybody has access to this. Okay, everybody has access to this. I'm going to go to the processing time button on the website, the USCIS.gov website, and you can just put in the 918 form. And you will see this. Let me share here the screen here. I'm going to share this screen. And you will see here the processing times. This is from the USCIS case processing times. It's taking them, that's actually shorter than it has been, just a little over 4 years. So if your visa U has been pending since 2017, this 51 months, by the way, is to get a work permit under deferred action. It's not to get the U visa. Now, lo que tiene que entender, Maria, what you have to understand, Maria, is esto. Hay solamente 10,000 visas al año. There's only 10,000 U visas a year. Today, there are 210,000 people online. Hoy día hay 210,000 personas en línea. In 2017, in 2017, let's take a look here. I'm going to try another thing right here. So stop that sharing. We're going to show you the statistics for USCIS, and I can show you how many U visas the Immigration Service had in 2017. So you can actually then see, oops, I didn't, here we go. So right now, I'm going to open this screen up, open this up here. All right, oops, that's in the wrong place. We're going to move that over here so I can see it. I'm going to show you this screen. Where is this? I'm not a tab to window. Here we go. All right. Now you can't see this very well, only because it's kind of small, I'm sure, there in the window, unless you've got a really big screen. But what you look here in 2017, the Immigration Service had 112 pending applications. Entonces, en 2017, Inmigración tenía 112,000 aplicaciones pendientes. Entonces, la línea en 2017 era como 11 o 12 años. Somos 7 años desde 2017. Entonces, Maria, creo que te vas a esperar 4 años más. I think Maria's got about 4 or 5 more years before she actually gets the visa U. Now, here's what you should know. Today, Immigration has 238,000 pending U visas. Hoy día hay 238,000 visas U. Entonces, ahorita hay 24 años de espera for la visa. So today, if you file a U visa today, you are not getting it for 24 years. 24 years. You're not getting it from today. Y ojos abiertos, eyes wide open, okay? Eyes wide open. All right, let's end this stream. I'm back. Here I am. Daniel Lucas, do you think there's any move to EB2 visible next month in Chart B for the AOS? Well, again, what's really good is to look at these things so people know what we're talking about. Every month, the Department of State publishes a visa bulletin. This visa bulletin is available for everybody. Everybody can get into this visa bulletin. It's right here. Here's the visa bulletin for January 2025. And if we scroll down to the employment-based stuff, right now, immigration for worldwide numbers is at April 2023. Now, what you have to understand, there's also a lot of pending visas. So let's take a look at them. I'm going to show you something next. I'm going to remove that, and we're going to check out. I'm going to show you the number of, let's see, approved, waiting priority date. All right, so Immigration actually publishes a form every month or every quarter, I think it's every quarter, about people waiting for their priority date, okay? Come on, where is it? There it is. Applicate appropriate. Come on. There it is. No, that's not pending applications. take a look here. In response to the question, it's really good to look at this stuff. So I'm going to see if I can find this. Rest of world. All right. So yes, let's take a look at this chart. I'm going to share another chart here. And I'm going to present this. Share screen, window. Here's the inventory. This is the EB inventory every year. This is for rest of the world. Every India, China, rest of the world, Mexico, Philippines. So what this is telling you is how many pending applications there are in each category. So for EB2, which starts right here, it kind of goes through right here. It looks like there's somewhere in the neighborhood of, these are waiting part dates, somewhere in the neighborhood of 5,000 or 6,000 pending, no, there's a lot more than that, pending numbers. So your question, will it move EB2 for the next bulletin and chart B for AOS? Well, chart B, of course, will I think it moves? I don't think it will. And here's why I don't think it will. If you look at the Visa Bulletin and you go to the bottom on the notes here, Charlie didn't put anything down here. I mean, not Charlie. The woman who writes this now didn't say anything about this. But what we have been seeing for the last couple of years is the 40,000 are divided by quarter, 10,000 a quarter. So generally, 10,000 are released every 3 months. So January 1, 10,000 were just released. He's not going to release more numbers. And there appear to be enough people in line to use all those numbers. So if there's any movement at all in the Visa Bulletin line, it'll be by days, maybe a month. The next larger movement will be sometime for the April Visa Bulletin. I'm going to go back and look at the October 2024 Visa Bulletin, which is quarter one of this year. Now, if we look at the quarter one Visa Bulletin for EB2 dates for filing rest of the world year, it was August 1, 2023. Oh, no, sorry. It was March, EB2, August 1, 2023. And for January, it is April 1, 2023. The numbers actually retrogressed. They actually went backwards because they had allocated too many people waiting for numbers. So the numbers went backward in time for the rest of the world, as well as for India and China. So this backward retrenchment, I don't see us even getting back up to August, maybe even this year. I wrote a blog on this last summer. Well, I guess it was August of 2023 about the Visa apocalypse. This is going to get way worse, Daniel. We're not going to see that much movement. Anita, AP, not permanent bar. You can travel. If you have DACA, it doesn't matter when you have the permanent bar. It's just not going to solve your problem, but you can travel. No problem. I've never not recommended that. Perfectly fine to do that. Most times the immigration doesn't even know you have a permanent bar. Only you know. Omarcito, good to see you. Hello, Vanessa. Vanessa, you are constantly changing your profile picture, and it's beautiful as ever. Yes, Bonnie, I did take 2 weeks off. It was Christmas. And Christmas was, right in the middle of it on Wednesday. I'm not going to get live on Christmas or New Year's Day. Next year, I'll be live Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, family time. Who wants to watch me that anyway? Do you think Taylor cosmetics would be affected? Remember, they were affected under Trump. Okay, they slowed down even before COVID. They had slowed down. They were well over 14, 18 months in Mexico and everywhere else. He slowed down family immigration. So do I think it'll be affected? Yes, I do. I think it's going to be slower. You're welcome, Hilda. You're welcome. Fergetta, good to see you. Chelly, good to see you. Marvin, Arguera. What's going to happen with TPS? Oh, you want my opinion? My opinion is Trump's going to end TPS for almost every country. I really think he's going to do it. I don't think he's going to do it right away. I think he's going to do it by not renewing TPS. I think for some countries like El Salvador, where the president is aggressively marketing, approaching, dealing with Trump, he may let it stay. I think the Honduran leadership would be well pressed to say something and meet with Trump and say what a terrible effect it would have on their country if everybody was, the 100,000 Hondureños were all of a sudden not protected by TPS. So, but remember, if you've got TPS, You should have traveled, and your employer can sponsor you for a green card. What are you waiting for? Tens of thousands of people have done it. Manuel, mi TPS vence en abril. Debes esperar. Well, tienes que esperar. Manuel asked the same question. Should I wait for my April renewal? No puedes renovarlo si lo extiende. They can't renew it. And you can't renew it until it's extended. What about newly approved? No risk for permanent residents. Permanent residents are fine. Naturalized in 3 or 5 years, whichever you can do. Edgar, my wife has DACA. She has removal order. My God, Edgar, why weren't you doing this a year, 2 years, 3 years ago? Depending on her, if she got it as a child, she still has a chance to reopen again. It's going to be harder. But in any respect, what I would do is this, Edgar. One, if you're a citizen, you should apply and I file an I-130 for her. At the same time, to get that receipt, she needs to apply for advanced parole. Because the advanced parole will let her travel, come back in, and she won't need to reopen the case unless she has an abstention order, in which case she will have to reopen the case. Do you see why you need a lawyer now? You see why you need a lawyer now? You need a lawyer now. Los que aplicamos para Pro Place teniendo castigo por dinero por vivir más de aquí, Trump no podrá proceder. No, Pipe, so he's asking about the Biden Pro Place program. Will Trump deport these people? No, they're not going to do that. They don't have the manpower. That's not going to happen. And Biden is returning the money. Biden va a devolver el dinero que pagaste el gobierno. ¿Por qué? Porque yo y los otros abogados trajeron litigación contra ellos cuando no deben el dinero a los ucranianos y tienen miedo que íbamos a hacerlo. Do I need to get a new medical exam to refile my AOS? Yes. If you've already used it by filing and you were denied, you need to get a new one. Any groups for American people can't afford an immigration attorney. Borrow money. There are nonprofits out there. They're going to be inundated. There's not enough nonprofits. There's not enough lawyers for people, let alone nonprofits. So look for nonprofits in your area. I don't know where you live. Catholic Charities, Lutheran Refugee Services, a lot of places. The city of Atlanta has a nonprofit that they work with for people for free. They're just overwhelmed. Best off figuring out how to get money and pay a lawyer, a good lawyer, not a crappy lawyer. Gloria, I need to close my voluntary deportation. Can I do 212? Can I close? Well, if you travel on advanced parole, Gloria, I would just file 212. I just filed 212. But I would need to look at your removal order, make sure if you got VD, yeah, you're better off filing a 212. Can anyone pending T-trial with advanced parole being a DACA recipient? Yeah, you can travel as a DACA recipient. Depending T doesn't matter. You can still travel on advanced parole as a DACA recipient, Annette. Will deferred action or bona fide U visa protect from being detained? That's an excellent question. It did last time. The U visa receipt notice did not, but you should carry your EAD cards. You should always have your if you got a work card, carry it with you. If you got an I-94 card, carry a copy with you. If you got your green card, carry it with you. Or if you're paranoid, carry a copy with you. Have a photocopy of your passport on your phone. Have that stuff with you, 100%. What will happen to TPS? I'm a resident. My parents have TPS. Well, Joanna, hopefully your parents have traveled on advanced parole, and if they hadn't, make sure they do it right now. And then when you become a U.S. citizen, you can sponsor their green cards. They're not going to put 500,000 TPS people in removal proceedings. They don't have the people they have to generate. They don't have enough employees to do that. So that's not going to happen. Sarai, during the last time Trump canceled AP for DACA, we approved AP could still travel, right? And that's exactly right. That's what I'm exactly telling you. There's still no risk in traveling. You're still okay doing that. We'll know more on January 20th. Teniendo la barra permanente por 10 años, Trump podrá el corte de deportación. Well, aunque tiene la prisión por la barra permanente por 10 años, no tienes orden de deportación. Sí, todavía pondrá, él va a poner gente que se encuentra, no más. Araceli, I voluntary leave, you mean voluntary departure. 05, did FOIA, don't have any records, only my doc. Is it possible they are reporting? Well, Araceli, did you use the right A number? And what do you mean voluntary leave? At the border or from a court? At the border, you should have done an OBIM FOIA with your prints, but a voluntary leave, at the voluntary removal of the order is irrelevant. It's that if you're in court, you have your court A number, the court will have that information. Again, why you should have a lawyer. Cindy, a citizen recently married to a person who was undocumented, but they get her 10 years. They filed for visa. No, file now. File now. It's going to take 6 years. It's going to take 6 years to get them a green card if they don't have a legal entry. 6 years. So we did lots of spouse green cards during the Trump era. We did lots of them, hundreds of them. They're going to. That's the law. Trump can't change the law. Omarcito, feliz año a ti también, hermano. Alvis Lis. That's a tough one, Nelly. Married to citizen, we're going to still apply for AOS? No, you have to have a legal entry or parole to apply. Do you have DACA? If DACA, get advanced parole. If you don't have DACA, then start the green card process through a waiver. Hundreds of thousands have done it. We can do it for you. It's not a bad thing. What about U visas? I just spent a whole section talking about U visas. When I'm done, you can scroll back and see the U visa discussion. Excellent diálogos. Oh, gracias, Omarcito. Will advanced parole be affected? I talked about that in the beginning, Omar. Go back to that. I-130 approved the NBC. How do I notify them? Well, do AOS now? Oh, so you actually, if you got your login and password, you can log into the EAC program and send them an email and say, hey, I'm going to do adjustment of status. That's what you do. Hopefully your lawyer will do that. What about advanced parole, DACA? As I said earlier, you can keep doing advanced parole until Trump says you can't. Okay, you should do it if you haven't done it. Buenas tardes, abogado. Entré ilegal al país 2007. Tengo un hijo nacido aquí, cumple 20 años en agosto. ¿Cuál es su opinión del gobierno? Gracias. Su hijo te puede pedir, pero si entraste ilegal, tendrás que salir del país por 10 años para usarlo. She asked the question that I'm asked every single day. I came 14, a long time ago. My son was born here. He's got 20. He's going to be 21. What can happen to me? Well, your son can sponsor her. He can sponsor her, but to use it, she has to leave the country if she entered illegally for 10 years. Because there's no waiver for children. There's only a waiver through parents or spouses who are residents. Connect. Should I worry if I got a conditional green card? No, you're fine. Your only worry is that your spouse keeps loving you. Joanna Moreno. I recently got residence from my husband. Yay! Marriage 5 years in October. I can't get citizenship. Well, you can't get citizenship. No, there's no. If Joanna, if you've got a conditional green card, but your green card holders are fine. No worries. What will happen to DACA? Chelly, go back to my discussion that says DACA after we're done here today, and you can see my nice long diatribe about that. Activity military sponsor amounts from being a pro. No, don't worry. Parole in place survived Trump last time. It will survive again. Parole in place is 6 to 12 months, Narita. So you're still within the normal processing time. Russ Henson. If DACA, why apply for advanced parole? He halted AP. Yeah, but he didn't halt it for 9 months. That's why, Russell. He didn't halt it for 9 months. So why not apply? If you haven't traveled, this is your chance to get that legal entry. And keep in mind, 500,000 DACA recipients have gotten green cards. 500,000 have gotten green cards. Why not you? Can you travel? Yes, you can travel, even with a permanent bar. Because again, the government generally doesn't know. Hey, we'll go. ¿Y cómo es lo que aplicamos para los comunidades casados con ciudadanos? Decisión de inmigración, perdón 601A, proceso consular en consulado. Just tell them, hey, 3 steps to process for somebody who's undocumented, who's married to a citizen. I-130 petition, 601A waiver, consular interview. Hundreds of thousands have done it. Leaving next week with advanced parole, previous voluntary departure 07. Should I travel? 100% you should travel. Go. Have a great time. Guzman, good morning. I just returned emergency advanced parole. My DACA expires. Well, they've been renewed. They just renewed somebody from December on the Dreamers Together page. So, yeah, what's the worst case scenario? They don't do it. Okay? They do it. You're here for 2027. Do it. Christian Madrid, hola, buenas tardes. Soy ciudadano americano. Tengo mi novia en Honduras. ¿Qué me recomienda usted traerla como comprometida o casarse? Honestamente, es más fácil, más rápido por comprometida. Por fiancé. Haga la visa de fiancé mucho más rápido. Mucho más rápido. Loveless, I haven't seen you in forever. ¿Cómo estás? Hola, buenas tardes. Mi esposo aplicó por BABA. ¿Cuántos años le dan el permiso? Ya van a ir a hacer los huellas. ¿Será que puede salir del país con el permiso para ver a su familia? Well, sí, ¿quién abusó a su esposo? ¿Usted? Loveless, necesito más información. Muchas gracias. No hay de qué, Anto. Oscar, if my wife has E2 visa, can I apply for an E2S? Oh, you can, Oscar, at a consulate if you don't have any unlawful presence. Did you get DACA before 18 and a half? If so, make an appointment at the consulate and go get an E2S visa. Claudia, use a lawyer. Well, entré ilegal con visa. Chévere. Entonces, cuando su hijo tiene 21 años, te puede pedir. Vanessa Citalepeño, I have DACA, did advanced parole. Can we apply through AOS? It's only through marriage or if your child is 21 and sponsors you. Sullivan, my fiance is a felon drug related. Can he still sponsor me on green paper? Yes. and make sure he's in therapy and recovering. Happy New Year, DACA since 2012, married U.S. citizen, advanced parole last summer, pending my manual. Congratulations, Fernando. You will join the 500,000 who had green cards. You said Lascon. Someone told me if you're Grand Emperor, that someone must be an idiot. You tell him I said that. Chuck says you're an idiot for believing that. Why is that not true? Because it doesn't happen. The advanced parole is advanced permission to come in. You will be admitted even if Trump is president, just like last time. Chele, God bless. Well, thank you. Alvis Nelly, my grandma's open surgery. I have doctor's letter in December. I was denied. Info pass. You need to press harder. You need to file the I-131, online, get the receipt, call the number, say you have an emergency appointment. My grandma's got open heart surgery. It's not going well. And they will make you an appointment. You need to press harder, Nelly, or you need a lawyer. Is it safe to do AOS? Yes, it's safe to adjust status even with Trump. Thank you for joining the coast. My parents. It's about 6 to 12 months to get parole in place. And then the green card, if you're 21, it's a year later to get a green card. Married to a citizen, he's 5 years. Do you need a waiver? If you lived as a child, left at 17, never had DACA, been living ever since. No, you don't need a waiver. No, you don't need a waiver. You will just go to the consulate and get your green card when that time comes. You're welcome, Chile. Okay, Sandra Lozano, falsely document married a citizen. Sandra, the false claim to citizenship is a very difficult question. Because it relates to how old were you? Exactly what happened? Did you immediately retract? There's a whole bunch of things that go into that. By the way, hopefully you have a lawful entry or travel on advanced parole. Definitely should make an appointment and get us that information. Tu hijo, yo amo tu hijo también. Entré en legal. Oh, ya contesté su llamada. Ya puedes arreglar cuando tu hijo tiene 21 años. Okay? Sadly, I would accrue 10-year bar. Could I apply for D3 to get... The problem with the D3 is it takes 9 to 12 months and they can deny it. And then you're stuck 10 years out of the country. Is that worth the risk? I don't think so. ¿Cree usted que el TPS está para ser para todo el mundo? Creo que sí. Los nativistas odian el TPS, lo odian. Y hay más de 30 países que tienen TPS. La gran mayoría Trump yo sé, no va a renovar. AJ Smith, pending asylum, pending OAS, am I okay? It came as a student. I don't know. I don't know anything about your asylum case or your AOS. That's why you have appointments. And again, make an appointment. All you got to do to make an appointment is call this number. Make an appointment. Or go to our website. Our website, immigration.net, just book an appointment. We have 8 lawyers, 9 lawyers. All of them are great. We can all help you. Let's go down here to Santana. All right. Nelly, can I try it? Yes, you can try it. Yeah. Again, file the I-130 online. You'll get an immediate receipt notice. Call the 800 number. I have an emergency need to travel. I have DACA. Please set me for an info pass. You will get it. You gotta be passionate. You will get it. Do I have to wait to be a citizen with your spouse enter that inspection? No, you can petition that spouse now. No, spouse. If you're a citizen, if you're a resident, you can sponsor your spouse. There's a waiting line, but you can begin the process. Thanks for answering my false claim. Yeah. We need to see your file, Losandra. All right. Has DACA any chance to be sponsored by? Yes, if you got DACA before 18 and a half, you're employed. I've been saying this, Irving, for 10 years, literally 10 years. We have employees that I have sponsored for a green card that have DACA. So yes, absolutely. All right. Wow. Today's been crazy. 50 minutes of me screaming into my computer, either talking at the camera or talking to the screen. I should get the camera down here. Great talking to everybody. I'll be live again next week. Pero next week, la próxima semana en español. That's my banner that's my Spanish website. Here's the English website. Again, if you need to reach me, 404-816-8611. And I'm Chuck Cook. I am the managing partner, actually now the founding partner of the firm here at Cook Baxter. And the reality is we're here to help you. We're here to help our clients really get grab that American dream and make their life American, just like my grandparents did. My grandparents were immigrants to America from Germany right after World War I. An awful time to come to America. They were not Jewish refugees. They're just basically farmers who got sponsored to come over here by their siblings and through work. So, I mean, there are ways to come. Just play within the system, and there are ways. And that's what we're here for you to do. We're here to help you work within the system. Okay. Oh, my gosh. There's 5 more questions. I got a few more minutes here. Will AOS take longer? Yes, 100%. Is it risky to FOIA a person? No. There's no risk in doing a FOIA. No risk. No risk at all. Ananda Sethi, you are welcome. Irving, you are welcome. We will see you guys next week, Wednesday, same bat time, same bat channel. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.